now for our feature presentation.
May I introduce to you Lancashire Hot.
Put your hands together for the one and only.
Got the mic. Hurry. Just a couple of Northern monkeys. Hurry, cockers.
Hello and welcome back to the Lancashire Hot Pod, a new look Lancashire Hot Pod, given that I don't know whether anyone's heard, but there's a global pandemic at the moment and everyone's sort of been on lockdown for the last 10 weeks as a virus ravages the globe and everybody in it. So we've taken a little bit of a back step at the Lancashire Hot Pod for the last 9 weeks. Myself and Gav haven't had the opportunity to do any podcasts, but luckily we've got two willing volunteers who have joined us in this online space of Zoom to kick off the new season of the Lancashire Hot Pod. So just want to say welcome to James Niven.
Hi.
How you doing, James? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate.
Good. And sort of long-time listener and previous guest on the Hot Pod, Steve Walker. How you doing, Steve?
Hey Mike, how's it going, guys?
Good. Well, listen, boys, thank you very much. But just before we sort of kick off the conversation, I just want to say hello to my my podcast buddy. Hi, Gav.
All right, mate. How's it going?
I'm all right, thanks. How have you been?
Been all right. I've been doing a music video.
Listen, you've been doing music videos, you've been barbecuing, and you've been working as well, haven't you? You've been working throughout.
I only got 3 weeks out of it. I had to cash in an holiday before April, and then the missus, the better half, came home with symptoms, so I had to have 2 weeks in isolation. Apart from that, I have been full time at it.
So was Kate actually diagnosed with COVID, or do we not know?
A doctor and the asthma nurse said, without a shadow of a doubt, she had it at the time, but they didn't test her because they just weren't testing them. So,
Well,
we've been together about 9 years, and I've never seen her in that state before. It was really bad. Yeah. So yeah, I'm convinced she had it as well. But there's no way to tell really, but I think. But
you didn't get it though, not the kids.
No, we didn't. None of us got it, which were a bit weird. So I don't know. Maybe we're just the carriers.
Yeah, I mean Blackburn and Darwin.
It's a good idea.
I mean Blackburn and Darwin. I think I don't know the exact figures, but I think it's less than 500. But Lancashire, I think, as a county, has had quite a few thousand. I know my mum and dad are over in Bolton, and I think there's been 900 deaths in Bolton alone, so that's significantly higher. But Gav, what's lockdown been like for you? I know you just said that you had 3 weeks off and you've been working. So how's work changed for you during lockdown?
Well, lockdown's changed for me because I've been coming home to a clean house and ready meals. The wife's been at home all the time. My wife's been working from home. But lockdown for me, I work for a local council, and at the minute, recently, I've been picking up all the fly tipping. The fly tipping has been a lot. It's been massive. The council have been struggling, to be honest, with all the work that people have been leaving for us. So we've been busy.
So has fly tipping increased during everyone being on lockdown?
Massively, yeah. I'd say massively, yeah. They just because people can't get out. The tips have been shut, so people have been stacking bags up in the back. They've been because they've been inside. They've been indoors. They've been building up more rubbish. It's been stacking up in the gardens or the backyards. Other people have just been throwing it into back alleys and that, which has just made our workload triple, really. I
suppose people are probably doing more home improvement work and housework and just general.
Oh, that's another side of it. Yeah, we're seeing like an influx. People are doing like more home improvements, paying other people off social media to dispose of it. But a lot of these, I wouldn't say all of them, but a lot of these people on social media are just scammers. They just take your money and then go and fly tip it, and then us council workers have got to go and pick it up. So it's a bit of a nightmare, but it is what it is. The end is nigh.
Well, hopefully, yeah, the end is in sight. And for me, I've been on furlough now this is the 9th week. So it's been quite an interesting and challenging period for myself because I love the work that I do. But it's given me an opportunity to sort of take a step back and spend more time with Sam, who I've sort of had the majority of time because his mum is a frontline worker at a pharmacy, so she's been working right throughout. And obviously with me being off work, I've been able to sort of work with Sam and do his homeschooling and biking, baking, fishing, running, just generally trying not to beat my head against the wall too much.
That homeschooling's a bit of a nightmare. I bet you two guys can agree on that.
Yeah, we kind of I gave up, to be honest with you. Too stressful for me, never mind the kids.
I know.
It has been challenging.
I work in a school, and I think a lot of parents have come to appreciate how tough it is actually being in education. I don't think there's many parents who would swap the job now to go and work in a school full time anyway.
That's what my wife does. Not a chance for me.
Not for me. I've been getting really stressed out with it, to the point that we've got the Show Your Homework app, and just the sheer amount of announcements, the sheer amount of work coming to do every week, and then when we get behind or we don't perhaps do something, or we did it and we didn't submit it, I started getting the anxiety about it. But
for the first few weeks, it was relentless. It was just they were sending it, and this family were like, "What is going on? They don't do this much work in school. Why would they do it out of school?"
Yeah, it's been tricky. So James,
schools were pretty relaxed about it, which helped. We weren't getting asked to submit stuff all the time, so they were quite happy for the children to just be safe and happy at home. To be honest with you, so that has helped, took the pressure off us a bit.
Yeah, I think that's the message that came through for us as well. If the kids do it, great. If they don't, listen, it's not the end of the world.
But that came after about a month. So for a month, they were sheer panic.
Probably all keyboard warriors parents getting in touch, going, "I can't do this." But James, you mentioned that you work in a school. Yeah. So has obviously you've been furloughed but still working, or not furloughed, but you've still been working
from home.
Myself,
yeah.
No, we've been in some contexts throughout. Really, started off for the key worker children, and we were on a rota system, so all the staff were in for 2 days a week, and then working from home for the rest of it. Which it's been strange. It's like I said, it is a tough job, but when the kids aren't there, or there's only a few of them in, it's weird. It's not the same. You do miss the kids, and you miss seeing certain members of staff as well. So it's been quite stressful, really. And working from home with having the kids has been, almost impossible, to be honest with you. And then obviously they said they were going to do this phased return with certain year groups, which our school said they were going to do. And then on the guidance of LCC, they said, we're not going to do it. So it's all been a bit up in the air. We've been getting different emails, different rotas and whatever. So we're now back 4 days a week, but with still limited to just key worker children, or because it's a special school, children who are who need the place for other reasons as well.
Yeah.
So we're in the bubbles. This seems to be the in word of bubble. You're in a bubble, and you're not allowed to leave that bubble. So like you see the same staff. You're not allowed to mix with other bubbles. You're not allowed to burst the bubbles. It's just all a bit weird.
One of the things my wife's been involved with, they've spoke about all these bubbles, and it's like 2 teachers or 2 members of staff per bubble. But if one member of staff can't come in, then the children can't come in as well, because you need to, in case one of them needs to go to the toilet and everything. It's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got staff who are on standby, so we were at home, and then if a member of staff needs to self-isolate or they're unwell, they can't come in, then the standby staff come in. So yeah, takes a bit of getting used to.
Yeah, it'd be interesting just to chat a little bit later about how sort of your teaching approaches have had to change with lockdown and working from home, and the tools and technologies that you've used, because I know that's been a challenge, for some schools, and it's taken some schools longer than others to get up to up to sort of standard. But so Steve, how have you been, mate? I mean, we saw each other before lockdown, I think at cricket practice, didn't we? I think that was the last cricket practice before lockdown sort of came down, as it were. So have you been continuing to work? Have you sort of been homeschooling? How's it been for you?
Yeah, I'm lucky. I work for council like James, so I've been able to work from home. Not allowed to go and visit clients that I normally do home visits. So obviously I've been roped into the homeschooling malarkey, and the biggest barrier, as James will agree, is Fortnite. Fortnite is the problem, because every time I'm trying to get him to do some homeschooling, my mates are on Fortnite. I've got to join in with them. Why do I have to do homeschooling? So it's a massive battle, and yeah, that's the biggest problem I've had.
I think Fortnite have been announcing. Fortnite have been announcing these what they called the
Doomsday event.
The events, where they can win money. So what kids have been like that.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, we found that it brings the worst out in our children as well.
Yeah.
The number of times we've had to stop them shouting at the screen or calling each other names because they've been shot or something. It's just like,
or kicked from the group. That's the
kicked out of the party or not invited to the party.
It's like a social exclusion, isn't it? It's crazy.
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, you've not had a party invite, but these other 4 people have had one. It's like,
I mean, one of the
got a lot to answer for, haven't they, Steve?
Yeah.
Although I like Steve's times tables, positioned in the background. Like, yeah, this bloody homeschooling's rubbish, but
all for show. Just like that. Stuck it up 5 minutes before he came on.
What's 7 times 7, Steve?
29.
Oh, look at you, Swat.
It's the only one I know. I had a private tutor when I was at school. That was my favourite son.
The detention teacher. That was your one-to-one. So, Steve, going back a few months, obviously you joined us and we talked about the group that you'd created, which was to support single parents. And since then, it'd be really good just to understand how things, because obviously, James, you couldn't join us sort of face to face when Steve.
I was playing Fortnite, mate.
Yeah, he said to be honest, you're a bit of a gamer.
The Battle Royale.
There was a competition, was there?
Yeah.
But obviously you couldn't join Steve, and Steve did a great job in sort of coming along and explaining how the group had been created and the reasons for the group. And then since then, Steve, you've been on Radio Lancashire, you've done some other promo about it. So it'd just be really good to understand sort of how the group has evolved since then and the sort of things that you've been involved in.
Well, yeah, we did a lot of work, me and James, leading up to Christmas after our last show, and the Christmas events went down really well. We got quite a lot to attend, and I think that's what then started more members joining. To be honest, that like a rollover effect. Then, like you said, we did go on Radio Lancashire. We went on with 2 of our admin and my daughter as well, and they gave their perspectives, and my daughter gave her perspective of joining single parent activities. So that went down well. We got a few more members out of that, and then I don't know if we talked about it last time, but I was in the Lancashire Telegraph promoting it, and then James quite recently. You want to talk about that, James? You've done a bit with the Lancashire Evening Post, haven't you?
Yeah, we did. We've been trying to get hold of someone from the LEP for a while, and managed to get a contact, and did an interview, and it was on the website a couple of weeks ago. And like Steve said about the other things that we've done, we noticed in the days after that we got a few more members, so it's obviously reached out to some people. And that's why we did it. It was good.
Great stuff. So how many sort of members are you up to now? Because you've got it's a main Facebook group, isn't it?
Yeah.
You branched over to Instagram as well. But how many sort of members are you up to now in terms of single parents in the group?
I think I did actually check just before I came on. So I thought it's been 571 we've got now.
Wow, fantastic.
2 or 3 requests to join today, so the numbers are going up all the time, which is great. But I think we'll probably touch on it later that it's good, but the way it's come about because of everything that's going on is not good in a way. But it's nice that people are using our group for the the support that they obviously need at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, single parenting is hard enough. You know, when you've got a pandemic and lockdown and perhaps even more isolation. And I know the government said, you know, if you co-custody, then you can share, you know, the children between the households, which I'm sure has been massively helpful for a lot of people. But when that isn't the case, you know, the lockdown and isolation must seem more. So it'd be good to understand sort of how the group has, you know, perhaps offered that support to people in new and different ways. Because Steve, you were doing the face-to-face events, weren't you? So have you bridged that with online events during lockdown?
Yeah, we've done quite a few Zoom events. We've done discos, quizzes for adults, quizzes for kids. There's not anything we haven't really touched on, is there really, James? Zoom wise.
We did a bingo, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
The first disco was quite amusing because I'd never even heard of Zoom, and it was one of the admin team that we were chatting about stuff, and she said, "Why don't you use Zoom?" So I had a look at it. I thought, brilliant, sounds great. I asked members to put song requests on the group and made a Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
So everyone logged on. We had about 10 or 12 people. I put the Spotify playlist on, but nobody else could hear it apart from me. So I was like dancing away. Like, yeah, can you hear me? And they're like, we can't. So it was a learning curve, but it didn't work. So the next one we did, everyone just played the same playlist in their own house. So.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, I mean, Gav's a bit of a Zoom aficionado. He's been like family quizzing, been doing all sorts.
We've done the bingo, the family quizzes, the ones for the kids. We've done all sorts. My brother, he lives in Sheffield, and he set up a proper quiz, and he's got like everyone's got names, and there's like every time you win, it's like fastest finger first. You put your phone. It's like a proper pub quiz. It's really good. This Zoom thing is amazing. Like yourself, I'd never heard of it before. But yeah, it's coming really handy for family getting together and stuff.
I think that's the one. Well, I'm sure there are other positives, but I think one of the positives of lockdown is that people are being forced to use technology that they might not have used before. And all right, it's never going to substitute face-to-face, but actually it does bridge the gap and has perhaps allowed people to connect and keep in touch in ways that they wouldn't have been able to do before. And I'm sure, you know, James and Steve, what you've described there, the quizzes, the discos, the bingos, you know, that's provided a real lifeline for people that actually wouldn't have had any sort of social interaction before that.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's an area we've definitely, met really, because I just feel personally, I'm sure James agrees, that a lot of single parents who can't get out because of the children have actually, made new friends and interacted more through the likes of Zoom or through. We've been doing a lot of engagement discussions as well, because we're conscious that people haven't got access to Zoom and laptops, and you can't assume everyone's got. Yeah, so we've done engagement posts as well, and they've gone down really well. And a big week we did have was Mental Health Awareness Week, and that went down really well. And we put on little events every day. We now have a Mental Health Monday, where everyone checks in and says what colour heart they are. I'll let James talk a bit more about the Mental Health Awareness Week, because I'm conscious I did the last podcast on my own, so I wanted him to input more tonight, and I'll have a break.
Yeah, it was just something that I kind of stumbled across. I think I might have seen it on social media, TV or something, Mental Health Awareness Week, and I thought for our group, especially at the moment with mental health, it's a massive thing normally, but at the moment it's affecting even more people. So we just decided that we'd put it on the group, and like Steve said, we do the Mental Health Mondays, which we've carried on doing because it's gone down so well. That, and when I say well, I mean it's got people talking about how they're feeling, the mental health, which sometimes is a little bit of a taboo subject, especially with men. But we have had the men in the group saying how they've been feeling. Like we were talking about before, not seeing the kids and stuff has been a really big one. But when we did positive things, we tried to promote random acts of kindness, because that was the topic for Mental Health Awareness Week this year. And we also did a Wear It Wednesday, where we encouraged the members to wear yellow. We decided on quite a bright, happy colour, just to raise awareness. Put a picture on if you're wearing a yellow t-shirt or anything like that. So yeah, that did get people talking. And like Steve said, we've carried it on. The Mental Health Mondays was supposed to be just for that week, but we've carried it on. We do it every Monday now, and like I said, it really does get people talking about a tricky, not a nice subject to talk about, but a very, very important one that is close to both myself and Stephen's heart. So it's one of the reasons we set the group up initially, to tackle kind of the loneliness and the isolation and the mental health, the way that you can get affected in this situation. He'll tell you, be honest with yourself, it's got to us mentally. It's just it's horrible. It's been horrible at times, absolutely horrible. But we hope that, well, we know that it has helped a lot of people in the group. People have been reaching out, putting on really like inspiring posts, and the members have been so supportive to complete strangers. They've just been so supportive, saying inbox me, message me whenever you want. It's been really heartwarming to see how the group has coped with this situation. Yeah.
And two main themes I've found have come out is one, being stopped having contact because of all this COVID. So we've had some parents really struggling to deal with being restricted.
So as an excuse to stop the parents seeing the children, or just because of the nature of jobs. So are people being stopped seeing their children because of the virus? I don't want you going to your dad's or your mum's just in case that you might see somebody else. So they've stopped it voluntarily.
Yeah, we've had both. We've got a few parents that me and James are regularly in touch with, who, one, their ex-partner's using it as a way of means of obstructing contact, and then two, because of the fear of the potential of catching the virus. So that's really impacted on mental health for some of our members. And then what other theme was there, James? There was another theme that was regularly coming up with parents.
Well, there's like the flip side, isn't there? There's the parents who really, really want to see the children and are really missing them, and then there's parents who don't have any other support. And although we all love spending time with our kids, to be with them in your house 24/7 pretty much is tough. Yeah. Really, 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 really tough. So that's like the flip side of the two different situations that people have been in, wanting to see them and just being locked in that, where there's no escape, there's no other adults to converse with, and it's stressful, as we all know.
And the homeschooling, the pressures that they were all putting themselves under, like you mentioned at the beginning,
Yeah. I mean, you want to do right by your kids, but you're right, James. As much as we love them, especially depending on what age they are as well. So my lad's 12. I know, Gav, you've got Teddy, who's just turned 2. Completely different kettle of fish having a 2-year-old running around the house than having a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old. So
well, the 2-year-old's more entertainment than anything, but the 12-year-old's a bit of a nightmare. It's just it's not being able to entertain, and you not being able to go out. You're not being able to do anything. You're just stuck there. It's having to find different ways to entertain and stop getting on each other's nerves or getting under each other's feet, and give each other space, and then be with each other. And it's just a big. It's just new, isn't it? It's just new.
One of the things that was a big talking point at the start, and still is, and I think it's had some coverage, but probably it seems died down. I've not really heard much about it, but it was a rise of domestic abuse. Because people are forced to spend more time with each other. And even if they were in an abusive relationship beforehand, the fact that they're now with that partner 24/7, it's increased more. So I know there was a big thing. So again, on top of everything else that we're talking about, when you're living with a violent partner or an abusive partner, that's something else to contend with. So there's so many things.
There's also like kids that are getting abused at home and school. I suppose in some ways is like their only release. Their only escape, but they're being locked in. So that must have gone up as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, James, from a school's perspective, what are the sorts of precautions that schools have had to or are continuing to take to sort of offer protection that they would have normally, done in school? Have those children in question kept going to school, or have schools had to adapt and evolve how they dealt with it?
Yeah, so obviously it's a special school that I work in. So kids that have had educational healthcare plans and have been classed as vulnerable have been offered a place at our school, and I think that has been in other schools as well. And yeah, precautions wise, obviously we've limited the numbers. We've not just said it's open to everybody. The numbers have been limited to obviously stop the infection spreading. And then recently these bubbles have come into place. There's different entrances for the staff and the kids depending on which bubble you're in. There's some PPE available if you want to wear it, because we have to do personal care with our children. We have to change nappies. So yeah, it's been tough. It's been really tough for schools. It's just getting used to so many different things, and just little things like not being able to share resources between classes as much. Obviously because of the risk of infection, whereas normally you wouldn't think twice about, I'm just nipping down corridor to that other classroom to get a stapler or something. Little things like that we at the moment we can't do, understandably.
And you take
yeah,
it for granted.
a lot. Pardon?
You totally take that stuff for granted.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, and it's just like going to the toilet. Well, you can't go to that toilet anymore because you're not allowed in that side of the school, so you have to go to this toilet. But the parents have been really good. A lot of the parents at our school have said, we're going to keep the kids at home. If they're working at home, whatever, they've said we're going to keep them at home. So, massive respect to those parents, especially with kids with special needs. I mean, we know how tough it is working with them at school. They've got a really tough job being a parent, to be with that child 24/7 who's out of the routine of going to school. Massive respect to those parents for doing that, and it's helped us as well, took some of the pressure off us as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. James, can you talk to us a little bit about, so you mentioned like when you're in school, it's dead easy to share stuff, you walk down the classroom and we take that for granted. So has technology been a hindrance then, or has it helped in you bridging that gap of actually being face to face with people? What's it been like for you in your school?
Yeah, as a school, we've not used much technology. As in, I know a lot of schools. My sister, she's a teacher. She's doing virtual classrooms. We haven't specifically done that with our children. We've been updating the website quite regularly. A couple of the teachers actually did. They put together a video, so the staff, you could encourage the staff to send in a baby photo, and they put it together with the music, and then the kids had to try and guess who it was, kind of thing. And as just for sharing resources, we just kind of got our own little boxes, our own little packs of resources, and we just stick to that, really. Use what we've got.
Cool. I mean, the reason why I'm sort of asking the technology question is because my job is around learning and development. So I've been facilitating online meetings in various different guises for the last 10 years, and it's amazing that as an industry, organisations have been very slow to adopt technology and almost pushing back on using technology and virtual technology to do online meetings, or whether it's collaborative technology, whether it's MS Teams, whether it's Google Drive, whether it's SharePoint, and what it is. that almost schools are really behind the curve in using technology to connect with pupils and to mitigate things when things like this do happen. Not that they happen all the time, but I think it is really interesting just how people have either sort of embraced technology, or there is still a reticence around using technology because it. A good example of this is the decision for the MPs who were voting virtually and have now been made to come back into Whitehall to vote in a physical capacity, which means that 2/3 all right, that's a bit of a jump. However, it's a good example of where a virtual solution does meet the need, albeit not perfect, but it meets the need. And I just wonder how many people have gone through and had that conversation where actually it's not perfect, but it meets the need and gives us a reason to adopt and use technology, or whether there's still people dragging their heels because they don't like technology, or they fear the technology, or they think it's going to take away, their reason for being, or their comfort zone. So it's a really interesting and fascinating topic for me, because a lot of my colleagues are now having to step up even more in organisations to deliver more virtual online sessions, or create more e-learning where people can get access to remote resources, classrooms, learning solutions, content, digital content, quickly and easily. So it's just something to consider and think about, I think, as to how technology is or isn't being adopted.
I think, I believe some universities have already kind of said, some of the big ones, I think Oxford, Cambridge, have already said next year, the academic year, it isn't going to happen. I think they've said that because of the risk and everything, whereas students will be starting in September, October, Freshers Week, that they're definitely not going to be doing that. It's going to be a virtual Freshers Week. How that will work, I've got no idea. And then moving forward, I think a lot of the learning is going to be online, which is massive, isn't it, for those enormous universities and all the thousands of students that will be congregating there and obviously enjoying the student life. They're going to miss out, I think, if that's true. I don't know if it is, but
it is. Yeah, it is true. I think the bigger question is: are the tuition fees going to stay the same price? If
that's what I was going to.
Case?
Yeah, they can't possibly charge full tuition fees for not going to university.
But then does that put a less value? Because ultimately, the kids are still getting the same content. They're just getting it delivered in a different way. So this is the value placed on face-to-face learning and face-to-face approaches versus
we can actually give a bit of experience, not personally for me and Steve. Our uni days are well and truly gone, aren't they, Steve? Steve's hit 40 the other week. I'm hitting it in 2 weeks. So that's done. But one of our admin team,
Dad's looking at you going, you bloody youngsters.
One of our admin team is studying at the moment, and he's not getting the face-to-face, and he's really, really struggling with it.
Yeah,
really struggling because that for me, that face-to-face, you can't beat it, and I think it's having a massive impact on a lot of people missing out on that face-to-face training, and just having the tutor there to ask a question rather than sending in an email. They don't reply. You know what I mean? It's not the same for me.
No, I understand. And from your perspective, Gav, obviously the line of work and the stuff that you do is outdoors. Has technology changed for you at all in sort of how people are communicating with you?
Not at all, really. No.
Just the same.
It's just the same. It's exactly the same, really. We're meant to be social distancing, but in my job we can't really social distance. And then we've got the other side of it. We've actually members of the public. They've been stuck in their houses for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So they're coming out to us for a chat, and they're coming right up to us and stuff, and we're having to step back. But technology's not really. It's not really made a. There's not really been any changes towards technology.
It depends. It depends on the industry. It depends on the line of work. It depends on the age group of the children, I think, as well. Obviously, university is a lot easier because the kids are older. And if the kids are younger, I mean, I see the Microsoft Teams adverts on telly where you've got primary school teachers with the kids online sharing the screens, and it's like this happy utopia of great teaching taking place, and we know the reality is very different. And then you've got obviously, kids with special education needs, whether they've got a certificate or whether they need one-to-one tuition. And Steve, I know that you've had an experience there where, you've been working with, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you sort of explain a little bit more about that? Because I know we briefly talked about it earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, I work with the visually impaired. That's my job. I'm
Right.
a rehabilitation officer. James obviously does his work with kids with additional needs. And I said we could do with an admin who, has got children with additional needs. And then, we've got a stronger admin really, with a diverse of good parenting skills in all areas. So I noticed one member was offering a lot of support to different posts, and so I messaged her privately and said, would you like to join our admin? And I told her what my vision was, is that she could create like a little messenger group for those parents to just tap in and talk about, the kids' needs and relate to. And she's done a fantastic job. She's got quite a few in that group now. They've actually done a Zoom. I think it was the week before last, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, did they do a quiz or just a chat? I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we, already we feel like we've managed to cover that side of things, because we're just normal parents, me and James, and we do want a strong admin with a lot of different skills, and we feel we've got that now. We don't really want to add to our admin now, do we, James? We feel pretty confident in the admin we've got.
I don't know what constitutes a normal parent anymore, Steve. I mean,
True enough.
I'll take your word for that. But yeah, you were just like Steve said, we have got that admin person who set the group up. But just as you were saying, Mike, about learning from home, we also have another admin team member whose daughter has additional needs and has been trying to access this online thing and just can't cope. She just can't cope with it. She needs that face-to-face, going to the workplace where she works, because a lot of children, especially with autism, everything's very separate. School is school, home is home. I ain't working at home because I work at school.
Routine, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's another barrier that I would imagine a lot of parents have found with their children. Whereas technology is great, but it's just not working for a lot of children with additional needs, I would have thought.
No, it's a massively steep learning curve. I mean, you can be working with technology for months, years, and it's still not second nature. I mean, the amount of times you get a new telly, and the instructions are they could be written in Japanese, or you get any bit of technology, and it takes you ages. There's such a steep learning curve to get familiar and comfortable with it, and then all of a sudden you're like, this is the way you've got to do it, and whether it's an online app, whether it's a mobile app, whether it's you are having to use tools that you've not used, it's been a massive challenge.
You've touched on with TV. My TV went at the beginning of isolation, so we got a new one, and I'm still trying to suss it out now. It's like 9 weeks later, it's doing mine nothing.
What you're struggling with, and I might be able to find you something online.
It resets itself every time you put something on. It sets the sound to every different program, and it's a nightmare. Anyway, sorry.
No, so
off my chest.
Who's the manufacturer? What's the make and model?
Oh, I don't know. High sense or something. I don't know.
Okay. So, Steve, when you started the group, I mean, you and I had a couple of good chats about sort of online communities and how you manage lots of different voices within that space. And we were chatting to another guy recently who set up a group around mindfulness and well-being, and he was talking about actually feeling overwhelmed as a group admin. Now you've extended the admin group and you're saying that you're happy with that group, but I'd be interested to understand how the group and the way in which you're managing the group has evolved from those early days where it was growing to now sort of being probably a little bit more of a mature group, and how your roles have changed as group leaders, group managers.
Yeah, you must have learned things. There'll
Yeah.
have been learning curves along the way. You must have learned things and changed the ways that you've thought about it since
So,
starting.
well, for example, we can put a setting on the content of a post, and it'll flag up to us straight away certain words, that are alarming, and then so that's one way we manage it. We've got some. Pardon?
That's helping with things like supporting different people.
Yeah, and we've got some early risers in our admin. Some are really early risers, so they clock some stuff that me and James don't always see because of our work commitments and that, and routines in the morning. So, I mean, there's 10 of us all together, including me and James.
Right, that's a lot. I didn't think there was 10 of you. That's a lot.
Yeah, three dads and 7 mums, and like I said, they all bring their own experience to the table. And when I said before normal parenting, I actually meant average parenting. I just see me and James as average.
No, that is.
I'm not average.
I mean, we're nothing special. You mean that's what you mean? Like,
yeah, basically, yeah.
We don't have all the answers and all the.
Oh, come on! Don't be.
One of the things we do, Steve, isn't it? Is we have sorry, butting in there, but we have a group who just. There's 4 of us, I think, isn't there, Steve? Just do the approvals.
Yeah.
Because to join the group, you've got to either be invited or asked to join the group. You've got to answer some questions, and then one of the admin team approve you. When there's 10 of us, it was a little bit. Some people were asking them to answer the questions. Some weren't, through no fault of their own. So we just decided that we'd have a core group of 4 people. We do the approvals. So if they don't answer the questions, we sometimes have to message them just so we know or who we're letting into the group. So that's one thing that's been fairly recent, hasn't it, really, Steve? The past since lockdown, definitely since lockdown, that's been something that we've done differently.
The other thing as well is we can put approval settings on posts as well. If we've got a member who's put a few, posts that aren't really appropriate, and we've had a word with them, we can then set their approvals on that post. So that's one. But all in all, we've had really good members. Being honest with you, we've not had much to deal with, have we? Really, James?
No. The other thing that we've kind of learned as an admin team that is Steve loves a positive quote because he gets the mick taken out of him for his. He's brilliant. The posts he put on are brilliant, like positive quotes. But it's like we just set the mick out of him because he's just like a Bible of positive quotes, reaming and reaming him off. And then another member started putting them on, so it was like we made a joke of like a quote off. Who's going to put the first quote of the day?
He stole my thunder, that guy.
Oh no.
Definitely fuming, Steve. Just hiding it.
Yeah.
Well, just remember, Steve, however loud your thunder, there's always somebody with the lightning. You can have that one.
He'll use it tomorrow. That
is that going off tomorrow? So have you started planning for lockdown, the easing of lockdown? Because obviously, the non-essential retail stores are opening on the 15th of June. The world seems to be coming back, and Gavin and I were talking about this the other day at a socially distanced barbecue, I hasten to add, is that, COVID's not going away. We know that a second wave is possible. We know that there's lots of things that still could railroad, and keep us from returning to the normal. But, I think this phrase, the new normal, keeps getting used and what that looks like. Bottom line, we're going to have to work out how we live and function as a normal society and have some sort of lives with this COVID without a vaccine. So as things are easing, are you guys going to start planning doing face-to-face events? How are you going to manage sort of social distancing? What sort of plans have you got to support parents when easing stops?
We've talked about doing some social distancing walks, which we said we'd start off with just as admin, just to trial how that goes.
Like you walk up Nolan's Tower, I'll be up Pendle.
But initially, we said we're really just going to encourage members to sort of organise their own, because it's going to get very problematic when you've got the children coming as well, and children naturally go and break them rules, don't they? You know, to play with each other. So we're being cautious at the minute, aren't we, James, about that side of it?
Yeah, we spoke about it. I think it was either last night or the night before in the admin group. It was mentioned about trying to organise a few walking things for the group, but then we decided that, you know, we don't know what 571 people's opinions are of social distancing and meeting up. So we don't want to be promoting going out as a group when it might not be what everybody wants to do. So we've got to kind of sit on the fence a little bit and err on the side of caution. But like Steve said, as an admin team, there's 10 of us. If we're happy to go out, 6 of us at a time for a walk, then that's our choice, isn't it? But as far as events are going to be concerned, we're going to have to leave it. And then once we can meet in large groups, we've got a big new member, well, not just new members, but there will hopefully be a lot of new members there, like an open day, which we had planned. We talked about it months ago, didn't we, Steve? This even before lockdown. Just getting as many members as we can together in, we're going to probably use High Walton Community Centre, which is near me, and just have a bit of fun, chatting, and maybe have some sports for the kids on the field. There's a big field there, and just a chance for us, as many of us as we can, to get together and meet face to face and talk about what's been going on and offer people support and meet these people who we've been talking to online and made friends. And me and Steele will admit as well, we've made quite a lot of friends recently, people who we've never actually met, but we've been able to have a laugh with on Zooms, and it would be great to meet them. Person to person. Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
I mean, that was the main aim of the group, Mike, if you remember at the beginning. It is really to help people meet each other, and if we can facilitate that, and then they go off in their own little subgroups, and we already know there's lots of them that are meeting up, you know, on Zooms and messaging each other in little groups, and that for us is all we want to do. You know,
that's the aim of the game, isn't it? Bringing people together and stopping people being isolated and on their own.
I mean, we had a camping trip just before a lockdown, and we had about 40 odd booked on that, 40 odd families. And that would have been the turning point for the group, really. And sadly, it got cancelled. But we're going to do it. We're still going to do it. And we could do that social distancing. You know, there is potential to do that.
And we have, there's some of the campsites are opening up soon, aren't they? July, I think. But we have kind of joked about going on a bit of a Max and Paddy style road trip, haven't we, Steve? Which I'm quite enthusiastic about. I'm not sure about Steve. We've got a couple of members that are on the other side of the border, Yorkshire way, and we have mentioned going on a bit of a road trip once this is all over to try and visit some of those who can't necessarily get to the events that we hold around here. So that could be, if anybody's got a camper van that they want to lend us, you know, we'd be very grateful.
I think Steve sees you more as an Ant and Deck partnership rather than...
Yeah, definitely. That's why I've changed my hairstyle. It's a little more like Deck.
I mean, that reminds me, actually. So when we first started talking, we were like, what are the jokey parts? And it was a joke, it wasn't a joke, was that, Steve, you were really concerned that you didn't want the group to become seen as sort of like a dating website, like a dating group where people would join to meet their future lover, or just, you know, basically approach people, you know, in either right or perhaps wrong ways. I assume that hasn't sort of progressed in a way that you know, you were concerned with. Having said that, with so many people meeting, have either of you had to buy a hat yet for a wedding?
No, not yet.
Unless it's been a lockdown wedding that we don't know about.
True, yeah. But
I think what we always said is that we didn't want it to be a dating site, and that is still the case. We've had numerous discussions about, is there anything we can do on the dating side? Because members have posted about they've been single for this long. How do they go about online dating? So it has been raised, the questions. We've talked about it. We've had different opinions. We've come together and agreed we're not going to do anything on the side of dating. It's too much of a minefield and we don't want to do it. However, what we've always said is people who are meeting up, if we're meeting up regularly, there's going to be natural attractions. You're going to talk to people. You're going to get along. And if that happens, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. If people meet and get married because of our group, happy days.
Yeah,
as long as me and Steve get invited, we're. So yeah, that still stands. That still stands. If there was no online dating, no Plenty of Fish, no Tinder, brilliant, and people met naturally in meetups on walks like the way we do, then that happy days, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, second all that.
We'll wait and see.
So are there any other sort of future plans that, I mean, I know it's really difficult to say with COVID, but Steve, you always struck me as someone who had a really clear vision for the group, which was to really provide a place to support single parents so that they didn't feel isolated, so they didn't feel on their own, that they provided a structure and a support network around. And in just a few short months, it really seems that the group has blossomed into exactly that. So again, something that you both should be really proud of. But
I think,
where do you see it progressing now?
Say that again, Mike.
Where do you see it progressing from now? Is it more of the same?
Yeah, I think it's really important that we mention our admin. I've been massively a big influence in how successful our group's gone, all of them. And I mean, not just from what they bring to the table, but me and James have spoke to them one-to-one or in a group meeting about advice on how we manage this members scenario, you know what I mean? And that input's been really important, and they have helped us get where we are today, and we really acknowledge that, don't we, James?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. It really has, and like Steve said, that we can call upon them to use their experience from their own experiences that they've had, and yeah, we wouldn't be where we are now if it was just me and Steve. No way. The group has like you said, it's blossomed so much because of the fantastic admin team that have been so supportive and so engaging in the group. It's been great. It's been really good, and we've got some good friends out of it. And like we set this up for other people, but I think Steele agree. It's helped us too massively during lockdown. It's without this group during lockdown, then God, I don't know. I'd be banging my head against the wall and been wheeled away somewhere in a van. Honestly, it's been
bald as staple in your hair.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, going back to your question, the vision really going forward is to expand, and we've got lots of ideas from the admin. We're going to have more events. We're going to have regular walks every month, probably every fortnight. We're going to try and get members and empower them to take on roles. We've recently got a member who's been doing some fitness videos for the group. You know what I mean? So what we're trying to do really is get more and more people to sort of step up and bring what they've got to the table, and that then will help.
In a way, it's turning out more like a big family, isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and hopefully that, like Steve said, the members will start putting on events themselves, and it's just one of them. If you're going out with kids to the beach for the day, just stick it on. Somebody might be at a loose end, and they might want to tag along. That's what we're hoping for.
And the other thing we've done is Instagram, and one of our admin again helping us with that. I think we've got 146 followers. We've not really been plugging that much, but we've made it a single parents community. So we're trying to sort of basically, hopefully, promote what we do, so that eventually other areas will kind of follow suit.
Well, the difference with this is where you're saying you've got like 146 followers. It's not like a normal group where 146 followers all them followers might just be somebody who just flicks down and reads what you're doing. They're all actually getting involved. They're actually for a reason, because it's going to help them in some way and possibly help somebody else in some way. It's not just a case of we've got this many followers. They're all there for an actual reason.
Yeah, and that's the future plan. I mean, we won't give away any more secrets today, but me and James do have a bit of a plan going forward to try and affect the bigger population of the UK. But whether that comes off is another story.
Well, listen, we'll have to get you on again and talk about whether that comes off or not. I mean, I know you guys have been talking about, and what I love about it is you go for it. You're really creative. You're really brave in terms of just doing things and supporting people that you believe in a cause, whether that's something that you've been directly affected by, being single parents or having to work and know a lot of other single parents. But you've always struck me as two chaps that when you say you're going to do something, you go and do it. And if it doesn't quite work, then you'll do it again until it does. So props to you both. So if people want to get involved, where do they need to go? I know you said it was an invite only, but can they search and request the group to be part of the group on Facebook? What are the deets, Steve?
Yeah, you can search up Northwest Single Parents on Facebook and send a request, can't you, James? That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, Northwest Single Parents Group for Positivity and Socialising on Facebook. Yeah, and you can just request to join, and like we said before, you just have to be approved, and that's just to keep our members safe and secure as we possibly can. And once you're approved, then yeah, you're in the group.
Fantastic.
We're still a private group. We're not going to go public.
No.
Yeah, no, I think all the things in there you've got, like you've used the word protect, a few times today, and it is about creating that protect. That social support group that feels a safe environment where it's not just open to Joe Public. So we'll post the links up, in the bio to the podcast, and hopefully again, you'll be able to share this with your members. And we'd love to hear from people as part of the group as well, perhaps in comments or when we share this, what you've got from the group and how important it's been for you, and to hear from your side of things as well. But I think it's just a massive thank you to you both for joining the Hot Pod after 9 weeks off. It's been a really good chat. I think Gav, I know you've been chomping at the bit to sort of get the Hot Pod going again, and so hopefully now that we've touched or we've used Zoom, there'll be more in the future. But one of the things that I thought would be quite interesting to leave with is what's the one thing that you've missed the most during lockdown? So I'll let you boys think about it for a minute. But I think I was thinking about this today, and I've missed cricket practice, and I've missed football on a Sunday morning. At first, I was quite glad of the lie-in, but as the weeks have progressed, I've sort of missed that social activity with the boy, doing his sporty things. And the other thing, and Gav, this will be close to your heart, is I've missed Smokies, man.
Yes, that's one of my new hobbies. We've got a barbecue and we've started smoking our own food. So I think the thing that I've missed the most is all my family is quite a close knit family, so we associate quite regular. So I've missed that.
Wicked. So Steve, what about yourself, mate? What have you missed in lockdown the most?
Like you, I missed doing the activities with my kids outside of school, with cricket and that. But the biggest thing, because I'm passionate about it, is doing the meetups for the single parents, and my kids benefit from it as well. And now that's not happening. Yeah.
Okay, James, what about yourself?
I've missed Steve.
Oh. You'll soon be reunited again. I think in the video we might have to do some
Yeah, definitely.
I'll think about that. How to wrap
hugging. I've missed hugging. I'm a hugger. I'm a massive hugger.
Yeah,
I really am. And I'm gonna be going on a big hug fest when I can.
Well, I mean, the people walking around with signs going free hugs, and just a few of the things we've not even touched upon what's happening in America at the moment. So I don't think it's apt, but that it's another conversation. But even in the protests at the moment, face down with police with riot gun, tear gas, rubber bullets. You've got people walking around going free hugs. So if it can happen in that sort of environment, when lockdown is eased, I think the huggers out there are going to go mental.
Yeah, watch out, Steve.
What I want to know is when Mike asked what your future ideas were, both of you basically went into fits of laughter because of the plans of what you want to do when you hit the UK. I want to know about that, so I want to see you guys soon.
We'll tell you after the show.
That's the Max and Paddy Road to Nowhere tour. That's
not the Anton Deck Saturday night fever show or whatever it's called. Wicked. Oh, and listen, boys, thank you so much. We're going to wrap it up there. So we'll post all the links, and if there's anything else that we talked about today that will be relevant, we'll post it up. Just to say thank you so much for putting the time aside and joining us on the Hot Pod. Gav, it's been a pleasure. I'm sure I'll see you at some sort of socially distanced event in the not too distant future, because we're
smoking some chicken this week, so.
You what, buddy?
We're smoking some chicken this weekend, so.
Oh, right, you might have to save us some.
Come and socially distance with us.
Don't come socially distance. Eat chicken socially distance. So if you have been watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. We're going to be releasing new videos, and of course hope you've watched the music videos that we did recently. If you're listening to this on Podbean or Spotify, thank you so much for listening. Again, you can subscribe on all the regular podcast channels, and watch out for the next episode coming soon. See you later.
Nice one, guys. See you later.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Now for our feature presentation.
May I introduce to you Lancashire Put your hands together for the one and only. Got the mic. Hurry. Just a couple of northern monkeys. Hurry, cockers.